going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, it's Friday then. Just sold my car on We Buy Any, meet me at the hotel. I'm getting the dancing out the way from now, people, because Unai Emery tax could be, that bill could be turning up at the Emirates tomorrow, people. So big up to each and every one of you on this Friday. And as I always say, man, don't let Arsenal mash up your week or mash up your weekend, man. I can't lie. Enjoy yourself, man. Yeah. Hands up if you're nervous about tomorrow's game. Yeah, me, very nervous. Unai Emery tax, people. Early kickoff. Just been beaten by Man City. Thomas Partey injured. Former manager. They haven't had a midweek game. You do the maths, people. You do the maths. But listen, maybe we can change the narrative. We have to change the narrative. I don't know about anybody else. I'm still vexed about what happened in the week. I'm still fuming. I'm in an awkward place with Arsenal right now. You know, I'm trying my best to keep things moving, but I'm fuming with what we did or didn't do in the week. I was so excited for that game, and it just felt like we didn't turn up for it, man, against Man City. I just think that game was too easy. You know, De Bruyne rolled out the stadium laughing. It was just annoying. Hugging the players at half-time like it's not the biggest game in years for us. Just too nice. Soft. Soft, people, with a capital T at the end. Soft. Very soft. They need to get a bit more aggressive, man. I'm telling you, we need a few rough players here. But listen, all we can do is look ahead and move forward now. And that starts this weekend. Aston Villa away from home. Unai Emery, former Arsenal manager. And this is a tough game. Make no mistake about it. This is a tough game. This is similar to me to Frank Lampard with Everton. Steven Gerrard at Villa. They were a mess. They were an absolute mess. Unai Emery at Villa, he's given them something. He's given them some spirit and some focus. And they've started to pick up a few results. And I think this will be a much more difficult game than it would have been if Steven Gerrard was the manager. Because they were going nowhere fast under Steven Gerrard, that is for sure. Now, we did beat Aston Villa at the start of the season, 2-1. Martinelli scored the winner. I think Douglas Luiz, didn't he score straight from a corner? If I remember correctly in that game. But listen, this is going to be a tough game. And we're going to get into the press conference. Find out who's available, who's not available. And see what we think about this game. A little bit of transfer news as well. So make sure you like the video and subscribe, people. We're nearly at 59k. We're 12 subscribers away from 59k, so another little milestone. Let's get that hit today. That should be light work, people. In fact, we're 10 away now. Fran said, Big C, in primary school, my team wouldn't dream of being friendly with the enemy at half-time. Listen, let me tell anybody who's listening in, who plays football at any level, there'll always be a time you'll potentially come up against, if you're in school, college, you know, you're a bit older, you play at a good level, you will always potentially play against a friend or somebody you know. Listen, what you do is focus on that game and put that friendship aside and talk to them after the game. Fans, everything at the Premier League level is under a microscope. Everything is seen and looked at and scrutinised. You don't want to see Martin Odegaard with his arm around Haaland coming out of the tunnel at half-time. And then when when Haaland scores the third goal, he's jumping up in front of our fans and antagonising the fans, which is fine, it happens. And all of a sudden you're going, well, why's my captain got his arm around him? You're not playing for Norway. I understand he's your international teammate. Deal with that after the game. Kevin De Bruyne pushed Arteta and wagged his finger in his face. He wasn't on no friendship thing. After the game, he shook his hand and hugged him. Yeah, man, I appreciate you, my friend now, but business has been handled. As we said, people, they came in our house and drank our juice out of our fridge. Didn't even take their trainers off at the front door. They had no manners for the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday. So we've got to be a little bit more streetwise for me. For me, to win a Premier League title, you have to have that little hardcore edge about you that I'll win by any means. We're not just nice boys who you can, little softies when the going gets tough. And that's what I still think this Arsenal team lacks. I think we're a very good team. I don't think we have a very good squad. I think we have a very good team. I think we have a manager that's rapidly improving. We have a great fan base, great history. But I still don't think we fully have that winning mentality and that know-how. Form, being good for 6-7 months does not win you a title. You've got to get over them hurdles in the latter stages of the season when the pressure's on. Samuel said, I'm currently playing Backstreet Boys. Quit playing games with my heart. Arsenal has me fragile. My heart all mashed up. I'm telling you, you need them old school R&B records to deal with Arsenal, man. I'm telling you, if I had one wish, we would be best friends. We're singing that to the Premier League trophy, people. Ray J settings outside in the rain. Yo, it's all mad. We might have to go outside in the rain. But listen, maybe next season, Maybe next season. Listen, we have to move forward and win the game tomorrow and take it one step at a time. That's all we can do at the moment. Buenos Aires, laughing my ass off. Someone said, at least we still friends with Brighton. Yeah, we didn't mash up the friendship with Brighton like that means anything. They'll probably still sell Caicedo to Chelsea in the summer anyway. So, hey, it is what it is. Rafinha, when asked what team does he like apart from Barcelona, he said he loves Arsenal. Means nothing. Loves Arsenal, plays for Barcelona. Robert Lewandowski, idol growing up, Thierry Henry, never played for us. Mbappe said he loved Henry. Even though Cristiano Ronaldo was his idol. Pogba said Arsenal was his favourite club. When have we ever took advantage of that? Mudryk, look at him with Arsenal. It still doesn't play for Arsenal, so it's crazy. Big up broads in the chat. I'm more playing old school West Coast right now. Hit them up. First off, well, how it goes anyway, but I don't think Arsenal are built for that kind of two-pack thing right now. They're a lot more soft than that. You know what I mean? They're not two-pack. They're not ready for that vibe right now. We're too soft. I can't imagine, Odegaard with the red bandana around his head. It ain't gonna work, is it? So, but yeah, I hear you, broads. Maybe Haaland hypnotised our captain. Maybe he did. But remember, Odegaard said he believes anything Arteta tells him. So maybe he told him the wrong thing. I don't know. Edu out, Kroenke out. At least Arteta has shown me some kind of cojones. Listen, I agree with what you're saying there. I did not want Mikel Arteta at this football club any longer. At the end of last season or the season before. But I'll give him some credit. He stepped up to the plate this season. Now, ultimately, I don't think we're going to get over the finish line in terms of winning the title. But at least he's stepped up when needed. Edu, for me, hasn't done his job properly this season. And the Kroenkes, I made my opinions very clear on the Kroenkes. I think Man United, it's their deadline today for selling the club. Qatari owners trying to buy them. I think we need to be the next club. We need to be the next club. Somebody was saying to me, somebody sent me a message yesterday. He said, I live in LA, and he said a few years ago they had no football team there, and within 5 years they bought the St. Louis Rams, moved them from St. Louis to LA, built the most expensive stadium in the world, filled their team up with star players, and then won the Super Bowl. That's the mindset. That's the mentality. I'm not doing the Rashford celebration, by the way, although it is a sick celebration. But that's the mentality that's necessary. We got the stadium, but we didn't get everything else that was supposed to be attached to the stadium. He built the stadium and then said, oh, that'll do. They've got some nice seats to sit in, but we didn't get the players and all the other stuff that was supposed to come with it. So for me, I said before, that January window told me everything I needed to know about this ownership. And people can go, yeah, but they tried to buy Caicedo and Mudryk. We're not interested in try no more. Try don't get you nowhere. Make it happen. That's the difference. Yeah, that is the difference. The only people richer than the sheikhs are the sultans. We need one of them big seat. Please, anything. Anything but these guys. Anyway, let's get into some waffle, people. Slightly later than usual, so it ain't lunch. It's probably an early dinner for you, you know. Mikel Arteta. This smile doesn't look quite as genuine as the previous smiles. This is that, you know, when you've had a bad day and your mum's like, "Are you all right?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine." It's that kind of smile. Something went wrong, but you know, you're not mentioning it. It's that smile. I remember when I was a kid, actually. I remember losing my phone at school and coming home, and I'm thinking, I'm getting whooped when I get home. I'm in big trouble. And you know, and coming home, Mum, how was school? Yeah, it was fine. You don't even smile with your teeth. It's just lips together, a little. But you know when, oh, how's your phone? Actually, fell out of my pocket at lunchtime when I was playing football. Damn. This is that kind of smile, Mikel. I mean, he hasn't lost his phone. He might have lost the title. Maybe he lost the title. What phone was that? I think I had a Sony Ericsson Walkman phone. If you're a bit old school, you know, man. Sony Ericsson Walkman phone. I had the plug-in headphones. It was that was a serious phone them times, I was running around the football pitch, dropped out my pocket. Damn. And that was the kind of smile I put on when I got home. Everything's fine, people. Everything is fine. But you know, things are not quite going as we hoped, you know. But anyway, let's continue. Let me not talk about old school phones before we end up having a phone conversation. Title slipped out of Arteta's pocket at the Emirates. All that jumping around. The Bluetooth on there, putting two phones next to each other. Bro, them phones there. I was mainly a Nokia boy when it came to phones. But the Sony Walkman got me out of there. I can't lie. That was a banging one. And then it was BlackBerry days, you know. That BlackBerry Messenger was just, that was the peak of mobile phones, in my opinion. Let me not continue talking about phones because we'll go way off topic. But anyway, let's get back to it. Everyone's talking about phones now. Siemens, C25. The hell is this convo? I know, Johnny. You know, we have a little conversation and then we get into it. Right, let's get going. Nokia 3310. Oh, when you had to make your own ringtone. Infrared. Listen, let me get back into it anyway before we start. Let's get into this conversation. Mikel Arteta. Before heading up to Birmingham, to prepare for tomorrow's game against Aston Villa, Mikel Arteta held his pre-match press conference at London Colney on Thomas Partey's injury. Here we go. We have to assess him again today. He has some muscle discomfort and we'll have to see how he is. He slipped a disc in his back, people. He hasn't, by the way. I'm just joking. I'm thinking of injuries that old people tend to get. For me, we need to sign 2 centre midfielders this summer. Not 1, but 2. Thomas Partey, for me, is one of the best players at Arsenal. We can't rely on him. What good is he to us if you get half a season out of him? Some half season wonder and then the age kicks in. As I said, people, I need to see some paperwork. Because I don't know what happens to this guy after Christmas. Mash up every year. From when he had a 45 million release clause, I knew something was wrong. When do you see a player of that quality available for 45 million at Atletico Madrid? Have you seen the size of the release clauses they put in contracts in Spain? I think it's Gavi, is it, at Barcelona? He's got a €1 billion release clause. You ain't getting him out of there. And these men put 45 million. Yeah, because he was 45 years old when they sold him. He's an old man. I'm convinced. He's chilling with the grandkids. He had some muscle discomfort. Man said bone density test. And we have to see how he is. Arsenal just released some training pictures and he wasn't in any of them. So maybe he's trained by himself today. Is he all of a sudden going to be available? Pedri's is $1 billion as well, apparently. We need 2 centre mids this summer. That's not me saying Thomas Partey's finished or get rid of him, because who's going to sign him? He's nearly 30. He's on 200 bags a week. You've got a 30-year-old Thomas Partey that can't get through a whole season. You've got a 31-year-old El Neni that's getting a sympathy contract while he's injured because he was teammates with Arteta. You've got Jorginho, who I still can't quite believe plays for Arsenal at the age of 31, although he did play all right on Wednesday, but it still wasn't good enough. It was Jorginho all right. We needed Thomas Partey all right. He's 32 this year. Xhaka's 30. Partey's nearly 30. And who's the other one? Xhaka, Partey, El Neni, Jorginho. They're about 124 between them. And we want to go into the Champions League with that midfield. Imagine going into the Champions League on a Tuesday night at the Bernabeu and you turn up with Jorginho and Granit Xhaka. We'll be in the Europa League before we even know what's happened. Third in the group and back playing on a Thursday. We need some energy in midfield, man. Our midfield's tired. Nobody can run. No power. Partey's got power, but he breaks down all the time. So, yeah, man. Partey's younger than Xhaka. No, this needs to be investigated. De Jong and Rice. Listen, De Jong's on 325 grand a week. That's not happening. We might get Declan Rice, but I'd rather have Pilar Rice, to be honest. Rice and peas. Now, listen, I like Declan Rice, but I don't think he's as good as Rice and Milinkovic-Savic. That would impress me. I'd love Bellingham, but, you know. On fitness updates for Emile Smith-Rowe and Gabriel Jesus. It's like I've forgotten that Gabriel Jesus even plays for Arsenal. In my head, I feel like he's still at Man City. I've forgotten him. Emile will be training today, and if he's fine, he'll be in the squad. Gabby is still not there. I'm sure he said the same thing last week about Smith-Rowe, and he trained last Friday and didn't play. We need him back. We need more options off the bench. Gabriel Jesus still not there, but still not giving us a time frame. From what I've been hearing and reading, they think by the end of the month he'll be in full training. You then might have to wait another couple of weeks for him to be fit. I think it will be mid-March before Jesus kicks a football for Arsenal. Because he's been out for so long. I think they'll take their time with him. Nomad said, did you watch the Barcelona game yesterday? I have to admit, I had no interest in football yesterday, but I watched most of that game, and it was a very, very entertaining game. I can't lie. And listen, I did say a long time ago about this boy Rashford, didn't I? You know, I did. I always felt like he had the tools. He just had the wrong managers to unlock them. A good young player doesn't want to play for Mourinho. Mourinho is not good with those kind of youngsters. Ralph Rangnick was not a manager. Solskjaer is a PE teacher. Now he's got a proper manager, proper coach in Ten Hag. He's unlocked the talent. He's on fire. He's one of the most informed players in world football right now, Rashford. I think United should have actually beaten Barcelona last night, but be a good game next week. You have to get one or two right, don't I? Lawyer C was right. I don't get them all right, that's for sure, but get the odd one right, you know. Good to see Sancho back. Yeah, man. Facts, Rashford always been a baller. He's been carrying the club since 18. On the fresh challenge of being second in the table. Oh, no. Do you know what? It feels horrible being second, don't it? Feels horrible being second, man, in the league now. Will we ever get back to the top this season? Well, if we win tomorrow, actually, we're top because we play before Man City. That's an opportunity. We've talked about it a few months now. The position that we're in, the way the team is playing, and all the right things we have to do to continue to earn the right to be there. We've seen the level where we want to be at that level, and we are on the journey. There were a lot of positives to take from the Man City match. I need explanations. I want to listen. I know he has to say this, but I want to hear it. And whether he thinks our squad can match Man City week after week, he said, I've seen it with my eyes in 2 games. In 2 games, but the level of I think he's referring to the 2 games against City. But the level of efficiency has to be extremely good every single ball to beat them at the end. We are on a journey. We want to be there again. The team is highly motivated because just in case you didn't see it on the pitch or didn't feel it after the game because of the result, I showed them yesterday. I mean, listen, I totally respect what he's doing. There's a whole heap of cap around what he's saying. But as fans, We have to just accept that. The team are in a fragile position at the moment, and he has to lift their spirits. So I understand what he's saying. I don't agree with it as a fan, because he said, I've seen it with my eyes in 2 games. Yeah, I've seen it with my eyes in 2 games as well. We lost 1-0 away from home in the FA Cup and 3-1 at home on Wednesday. They dealt with us. They tickled our bellies on Wednesday. They didn't even have to go to war. So, to be honest, I didn't see it with my 2 eyes. If anybody else saw it with their 2 eyes, feel free to let me know in the comments. I didn't see it. But listen, he's trying to lift the spirits. I understand what he's doing and what he said, I showed them yesterday. So he showed them the game back again. Where he's going to look at the positives, and I'm going to be honest, he's going to look at that game on Wednesday and say, we gave City the first goal, shouldn't have happened. We gave City the second goal, shouldn't have happened. And Nketiah should score the header, the first one. He could have maybe scored the second one. So he's going to justify it to them as the game was very level and we had more possession and more shots overall. So that's how he's going to justify it. But I don't agree with what he's saying, but I understand what he's saying. Ian said, Curtis, are you still in the train toilet or getting off at the next stop? I told you, man. I'm on that train with no ticket. If the inspector catches me, I'm being let off at the next stop. And I'm hearing some funny noises in the engine, man. You know what I mean? I think we broke down around Manchester. You know, so let's see whether that train completes its journey. On whether Champions League football is the minimum. The minimum is that today they train exceptionally well. I'm telling you now, he has a huge future in politics, Mikel Arteta. He really does. Martin said, Curtis, just say it, bro. Nketiah is back to his average League One level. I mean, I may have said League 2. I'm joking. I may have said League 2 is what I was going to say, but I'm joking, people. It's Friday. I'm trying to lift the spirits. Where am I with Eddie Nketiah? I never felt he should have been second choice striker at Arsenal. That's my honest opinion. He got an opportunity once Gabby got injured. He came in. He did well. I've tried to support him, tried to hype him up. I gave him a green screen. I sang the song. But I think ultimately you've seen over the last few weeks, he's not the level that is required. And I'm sorry. And there are a lot of people that like Eddie Nketiah and big fans of him. And I get it. He's one of our own. He came through the system. Blah, blah, blah. But he's not levels. It depends what level you want the club to achieve, whether you're accepting of him or not. The narrative that's being thrown at me a lot of the time at the moment is we would have taken this at the start of the season. So if we don't win the league, we've still had a good season. If you think like that in life and in football, you'll never get anywhere. Because things change, targets change, players get injured. You get big players through the door, lack of form, managers change. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. I don't know who sings that, by the way. I heard that on the radio today. But just because at the start of the season we would have took top 4 doesn't mean that we should just put our hands up now and surrender and finish 4th. Things change. And with Eddie, for me, Eddie is not the answer. He's not the answer. He isn't. We should have signed somebody to play ahead of him once Jesus got injured. We should have pressed the panic button. But we didn't. We didn't. Same thing we did last January. Oba went. They stuck with Lacazette and Eddie. And we didn't get over the finish line. And the same situation has occurred this year. And that's the reality. Latte says, bro, watch Jude on Tuesday. Oh my God, please get him to Arsenal. Listen, we might sign Jude, somebody. We ain't signing Jude Bellingham. We might sign someone called Jude. But it won't be Jude Bellingham. Maybe we'll sign his brother. I think his name's Joby Bellingham or something like that. He's at Birmingham City. Maybe we'll sign him. But we ain't signing Jude Bellingham. Why shouldn't we sign Jude Bellingham, though? We're second in the league. We've got money. We're in the Champions League next year, unless a miracle occurs. Why should we not be in the race for Jude Bellingham? Again, put it down to the owners. People think if I put on Twitter right now, Arsenal should sign Jude Bellingham this summer, people would laugh at that tweet. People would go, yeah, right, good one. But then I'm like, well, how come we can't sign him? Justify why we can't sign him. People go, we can't afford him, we can't pay that much, but our owner's richer than Chelsea's owner, and Chelsea want him, so why can't we get him? And that's the problem with Kroenke. He's hypnotised the fan base into making people think that we're broke. It's like a billionaire sitting on the street begging for change. You know, if he sits there long enough, people believe that he's homeless, but he's really not. That's how he's moving at Arsenal. But it's crazy. Big C, I heard Stan hijacked the train in January. He must have. He changed the direction, man. We were heading towards that title. He said, nah, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. You ain't winning no title. That's too expensive. Your defence is in trouble. Yeah, man was never the same after that song. I mean, I think that song was the problem. Last year, the song finished us off. Garby, what did they say? Tierney at the back. Garby in attack. Arsenal on our way to Champions League. We've got Super Mick Arteta. Remember that song? Ended up on Thursday night Europa League real quick, people. Straight after home and away on Channel 5. So, yeah, I think we better stop singing these songs, man, and mashing up the place. Big C, I missed yesterday's live stream. Hopefully Tommy Asu was man of the match. 1 goal, 1 assist. Oh, wait. Mate, he might have got Man City man of the match, not Arsenal man of the match, that's for sure. Yeah, them songs, man. They should change it. You will have no trouble in your defence when Nketiah's in the room. There you go. L. Big up yourself. On whether individual errors were why they lost, you have to give credit to a team when they beat you. But when you analyse the game again, I think we lost it. So he's trying to be clever again. We lost it rather than they beat us is what he's referring to, I would say. On the atmosphere in the stadium on Wednesday, our fans were extraordinary, supporting and inspiring. Obviously, there was an incident at the end nobody's going to tolerate in our stadium, and the club is investigating that issue. For those that don't know, obviously, when Kevin De Bruyne was substituted, an Arsenal fan threw a bottle at him. Which is, I mean, listen, I get angry with the opposition when they're scoring against us, but that is just a shambles. It looked like a prime bottle as well, which I think in the inflation we're living in now, I wouldn't be throwing no prime bottle, that's for damn sure. You can probably sell that on eBay even if it's empty. So he must have a little bit of money on the hip, at least throw a water bottle. But no, listen, I don't condone that kind of foolish behaviour. Is nonsense. How are you mad at a player? I heard people saying they were angry because he pushed Mikel Arteta. And I'm like, bro, I understand defending your team, but he's ran over to take the throw and Arteta's dribbling the ball away, so he pushed him. The game is the game. Arteta was time wasted. It is what it is. So, oh, man. You know they're vexed when they're throwing prime bottles. Threw a prime bottle and De Bruyne turned it into a Capri Sun on his Insta real quick. De Bruyne was laughing, man. He didn't even care. It was wrong, but he was taunting the fans. Game's the game, man. They should have that energy towards the Kroenkes. Don't be mad at Kevin De Bruyne. Be mad at the Kroenkes. On our results from the past 3 games, you want to get the maximum points, and we didn't. We have to look at ourselves. We have to be more efficient. With the amount of playing situations we have made, we haven't generated enough points. That's down to us. We have to improve that because we want to win more games. We're back to that situation, aren't we, again, where these journalists don't ask any kind of decent questions. They're boring. They're boring. Look at this for a question, right? This is my example of why I call this waffle settings. I'm going to skip through this because I don't want to bore people. Time is precious. I don't want to take it from you. On whether a quick turnaround will help us move on from the City game. I mean, it's great if we win. It's bad if we lose. Oh, and the next one, on facing Unai Emery. Oh, yeah, Unai Emery's the Villa manager. I'm going to make up some little short compliment and then move on. My question would be, Mikel, do you think it's reasonable for a team trying to win the Premier League to have only one striker available for 3 months when you've just had a January transfer window? First question. Do you think that's right? Second question, Mikel. You said this was a youth project. Do you think you need some younger centre midfielders as your 4 midfielders are now in their 30s? Question number 2. But they don't ask questions like that. They will never ask these questions, you know? Do you feel you were backed sufficiently in the January transfer market despite the fact you wanted to sign Mudryk, Caicedo and João Felix? Next question. You know, I'll be banned from the press conference, but he said, let me get through this waffle. The schedule is unusual. It is what it is. The players are highly motivated. And listen, I'm not being funny here. I don't want to hear no excuses about schedule, right? Because we're not playing in Europe at the moment, obviously, until the next round. We're out of the Carabao Cup. So I don't want to hear excuses about schedule and quick turnaround of games. You'd get dashed out, Curtis. Yeah, it'd been my last press conference. That's for sure. Journalists are part of the problem. They don't hold football clubs accountable. Curtis would be thrown out real quick. Yeah, it wouldn't happen. I'd be banned. It would be the only press conference I'd be in. They wouldn't allow it. They'd probably mute my microphone. On facing Emery, he will always be up for the difficult test. He's a very good manager. I have huge respect for what he's done. On the team's high level of motivation after Wednesday, they realised on the pitch and how they feel on the pitch when they are coming up against the best team that this league has had in decades and how they performed against them. I sensed a lot of belief. He's genuinely turning this into like we put some really, really good performance in against Man City, innit? That's the narrative that he's trying to feed us. We lost 3-1 at home. I don't think it was as good a performance as he's really making out. They were hugely disappointed not to get the result, but not that long ago we were looking there and saying, guys, we are so far, we still need to improve, and now we are closer. Because it wasn't enough because they were more efficient than us. You know this story is heading in one direction. And I'm not talking about the pop group that came off X Factor. This is heading in the direction of, well, we improved on last year. This is what you're going to hear fed all over the media at the end of the season. In my opinion, right? And I can't say this factually, because factually we could still win the Premier League. In my opinion, we won't. If we finish second or third, the narrative that's going to be fed all over the place from The Athletic, from The Mirror, from everyone will be, what an amazing first half of the season. Nobody expected Arsenal to be this good. Our aim was to get Champions League football and we've achieved it. Everyone will be high-fiving. And that's where it's going, people. I'm telling you, that's the direction we're heading in. You know, nobody is prepared to talk about the title that the title. If we miss out on the title, I will be disappointed. I will look at the positives back in the Champions League, but I'll be disappointed that we didn't get anywhere near the title if we don't towards the end of the season. But you can see the way the narrative's going. They will celebrate top 4 way more than being disappointed at missing out on the league. And that was the attitude in the January transfer window. You can see, no disrespect to the players that we brought in, but those players were just squad boosters to get us over the line in terms of numbers. We signed bodies in January. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Trossard is a good player, but I didn't look at Trossard and think, you know what, you get us over the finish line. You help us win this title. I thought, you're a good squad player. Brighton were willing to let him go. 20 million quid up front. As I said yesterday, I look at those 3 players we signed in January. We could have been 6th in the league and signed those 3. And that's the harsh reality of the situation. If you're 6th in the Premier League, Arsenal, you can still sign Trossard. You can still sign Kivior, and you can get Jorginho at the back end of his career. So you know where the narrative is going. You know, for me, the problem with January, we needed a game changer. We needed somebody that can win us a match. Game changer. And that's what we didn't get. And it's unfortunate. And as I said, I don't blame Arteta for what happened in January. I blame Edu and I blame the Kroenkes people. But anyway, let's move on. Phil said we needed a striker. Ian says, Curtis, what you said yesterday is 100. If we don't win it this season, when will we ever be this close? As I said, I think this season opened itself up into an amazing opportunity. Liverpool were challenging for 4 trophies last year. This year they've been awful. Chelsea have been awful. Man United are still figuring things out. They're climbing into that title race though. And you look at Tottenham, they're just same old Tottenham kind of thing. Some weeks they're good and then they're inconsistent other weeks. Next year, I've said it time and time again, I don't want Newcastle to get in the Champions League. I'm not going to hide. If Newcastle get in the Champions League this season with an owner worth 300 billion, you wait until he starts flexing his financial muscle. They quickly become a top 4 club. It happened with Man City very quickly. Man United are going to be bought probably today. Chelsea are spending money non-stop. Liverpool are up for sale. Man City are Man City. Next season, I think, will be way more difficult than this season. So my question to any Arsenal fan who looks at it as a positive, which I get, there is a positive, we have improved, but the disappointment of missing out on the league, my question would be, when will we have a chance this good to win a title? How long does it take Arsenal from this year to win the league? It could take a long, long time, and that's the problem. Felix and Mudrick says, reaction. African Giants in here trolling again. Oh, what a beautiful day, Big C. The sky is blue. Ah, dear. Sky blue, yeah. I get it. I get what you've done there. See, Guna, maybe the players were disappointed with January. Well, you heard the Athletic saying how happy the players were with Jorginho. But we never heard that from any player. That's just what the Athletic said. Facts, even Europa League, they will attract talent. Yeah, trust me, man. Chelsea and them clubs there, you pay enough money. Remember when Man United were in the Europa League, they signed Zlatan and Pogba. They broke the world record and signed Pogba. Money talks, people. You know the song, Dizzy Rascal. I don't need to sing it. You know already. I've sang it numerous times. On how big the gap is between us and Manchester City, he said, I don't know. In terms of points, we don't know. The feeling I had on the pitch was in many situations we matched them, and in many situations we were better than them. But in the boxes, they were far better than us. I mean, that might be worth sipping the drink and having a bit of silence. I might need to gather myself for just a second. So let me break this down. I know what he's doing here. Obviously he's capping, but we were better than them in many situations, but in both boxes they were far better than us. Oh dear, that's brilliant. The funny thing is, Mikkel, the most important part of the football pitch is probably the penalty areas. Do you know what I mean? Oh, stop the cap. Mikkel, I'm telling you, if they don't get him in the Conservative or the Labour Party, I'm telling you, he is the type to make you vote Conservatives and then they knock down the local school and the community centre, man. I'm telling you, this guy, he has to be a politician when he comes out of football. We dominated many parts of that pitch, but just not the 2 penalty areas. Hey, I tell you what, mate. I tell you what. He could sell rice to a chef, he could. Absolutely brilliant. Franny in the chat, how are you, bro? He said, nonsense. City were half cooked and we look miles off them. Hey, Fran, straight off the hip, Fran. You don't mess about. That Manchester City team this season, I'm going to be honest, Man City are outstanding. They are absolutely outstanding, right? That, if you think about it, that is one of the... I can't even use the term weakest because they're still probably going to win the title. But I would say that is their least good team that they've had in the last maybe 5 or 6 years, Manchester City. Because last year they won it with no striker. The years before that they had Sergio Aguero. They had the Aguero, Sané and Sterling front three that I think was actually Man City's one of their best ever teams, that front three. And David Silva was there as well. Fernandinho. I'm telling you now, I don't know what game he's watching. That Man City team were there for the taking. They played, please tell him, they played Bernardo Silva in a left-back position against Saka, and we still couldn't expose them. That was light work. You can't tell me that Man City were in fifth gear on Wednesday night. They were cruising through that game at times. Haaland was bullying, man. It was light work. It was like, I don't think that was a hard game for Man City. I really don't. I saw them have a much harder game against Brentford when Brentford slapped them. I saw Man U deal with them. Saw Tottenham deal with them. We didn't deal with them. You lose 3-1 at home, you can't say the game was close. Doesn't matter if you had more possession. They tickled our bellies. So, yeah, man. In all seriousness, you lot might need a Qatari billionaire. I don't see Stan Kroenke willingly competing with the big six in expenditures. It's a shame, to be honest. I mean, hey, big up on the super chat, bro. But we're getting sympathy from Chelsea fans. I mean, I don't even know how to take that. But big up African Giant, man. Big up Fran, we miss you on the post-match show, said Ian. Yeah, man, we need to get Fran back on, man, after the games. He's fully in the crypto zone at the moment. Dennis said, I'm telling you, Curtis, Liverpool are going to turn City over. They are not the same team they were. Lucas said, I personally think the title's over. Curtis, I got a question for you. If Arsenal finish more than 6 points off City, would you consider sacking Arteta? The problem is, right, my mindset and the owner's mindset is totally different. I suppose the reason you can't get rid of him is because you didn't give him what he asked for in January. He can turn round in an interview and say, we were top in January with a points lead. I asked for 3 players and you didn't get me one of them, you know? So I can't make you, if I want to make a cake and I ask you for flour and sugar, you know, and some vanilla, and you come back with the wrong ingredients, how am I supposed to make the cake? They didn't bring the right ingredients back for him. I said, listen, Edu, will you do me a favour? Yeah, all right. We go shop and get me a João Felix, a Mudryk and a Caicedo. And the man came back with Kivior and Trossard and Jorginho. I mean, it just ain't the same thing. So it's hard for me to really say that. I don't think he deserves to be sacked. I don't. Despite the fact I would still be very disappointed. I think you've got to look at Edu and the ownership before Mikel. So yeah, not for me. He definitely didn't go Walmart. I don't know where he went. The owner owns Walmart. Bring back the ingredients, man. Although Jazzmeat said, Curtis, why are you favouring Arteta? He's a clown. Look at his team selections and subs. I mean, that's how I was acting a year or two ago. But I have to give him some credit for this season, of course. On what's giving him belief in his players. That when it comes to a match like the other day against that team, you know, geez, man said that team. Damn. He's really mad that Pep made him put the cones down, man. Jesus. Man said that team, he can't even name them. Who I know pretty well, and the players are able to produce what they produce. It gives me a lot of belief that we are going in the right direction. He's going a bit too far with it. I can't lie. The cap is genuine. No, listen, I'm being honest, Cello, and I say this on a real. Mikel Arteta has improved massively this season. And he deserves a lot of credit for what has happened this season. I am still not fully convinced by Mikel Arteta. And I'm probably in a minority here. And what I mean by it is, I still think that considering he's in his 4th year at the club and he spent over 400 million to get us into the Champions League this season, I still think he should have done that quicker, considering the amount of money that he's spent. And I don't want people to take this in a real negative way. I'm not firing shots at him. I'm just saying that improved massively, yeah. I've had him on the green screen. I've praised him. But I still look at it and think Klopp got Liverpool in the Champions League in his 2nd season. Antonio Conte got Tottenham in the Champions League after 6 months at our expense with not a great side on paper. Now, ultimately, if we don't win the league this year and don't win the Europa League but get top 4, I think that's a disappointment considering where we was, in January. You're looking at 400 million in 4 years to get one Champions League spot. That is not a miracle. That's not a miracle worker. That's not necessarily worth, having a parade over. It deserves a pat on the back, but there still has to be another line of progression from that point. So improved, yes. Question marks, still question marks for me over the manager and the board and owner. But we'll see. Let's see what he has to say on how impressed he was by Jorginho. He's really good. He's coming to the team, earned the respect of everybody. You see his leadership, understanding how he's coaching everybody. I think he had a really good game. Listen, you know my thoughts on Jorginho. Don't think we should have signed him. But he had a decent game. But I don't think he had a great game. Some people online were saying Jorginho had a really good game. I thought he had a good game for Jorginho. I don't think, but it wasn't enough for us to... Second half, Manchester City dominated our midfield. We couldn't get near them. They kept the ball. Armchair supporter said Jorginho is better than Xhaka. He's better at different things than Xhaka, I would say. Yeah, Rowan, I think you're spot on. Jorginho needs a runner. You get energy around him, he'd probably look even better, but we don't have a lot of energy in midfield. Martin said, Big C, you would have to say we bottled the league. No one has ever collected this amount of points at the halfway stage and lost the league. There would have to be a conversation that we gave the league away, and January was a big part of that. Gunnar8 said he's a great coach, but we need a great manager, and the two things are very different. Management and coaching are still different things. On if Trossard deserves to start a game soon, he's had an impact every time he's been on the field, so he's an option. On if it's frustrating to play on Wednesday and then on Saturday lunchtime, I'm sorry, that question winds me up beyond belief, and I cannot believe they're doing this already. We have one little bad run, and now Wednesday, Saturday is going to crumble us, apparently, when we haven't even played in Europe for the last 2 or 3 months. So don't even do this. This is why you're supposed to rotate the squad and not pick the same players. I'm not even reading his response. In fact, I have to because it's triggering me. He said it's very difficult to play tomorrow, but we will have full energy. It's not a worry. So you're actually contradicting yourself with the answer. You're saying it's very difficult to play tomorrow, but we will have full energy. So if you've got full energy, why is it difficult to play tomorrow? So he's actually feeding into the excuse with the answer. I want the players to be in the best possible mindset and physically ready. I don't want to hear none of that. You can already hear the narrative, can't you, people, again? We played on Wednesday. Villa didn't play midweek. The FA have stitched us up. Blah. Don't do this. Don't make excuses. On if the players can be at their physical... Doing it again. On if the players can be at their physical best having played on Wednesday night. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Assassin said, Curtis, hear me out, bro. I'll bring in Mourinho in the summer. Serial winner demands respect. Quick. I know the fans wouldn't want that because the standard will increase. You know me, famously, people, a couple of years ago, I wanted Mourinho and got a big backlash from it at the time. I think now, just because he's been the Tottenham manager, they wouldn't go anywhere near him. Big C, normalising Eddie to be our first striker is like, Scholesy, yeah, I know. They're hypnotised by what's happening. Oh, the poor young team. These poor young players. They're so young. They're just babies. How can they possibly play on Wednesday and then play on Saturday? Oh, come here. Come here, Bakayo. Let me give you some milk, Bakayo. There, Bakayo. Poor baby Bakayo. How could he possibly play a game of football on Wednesday and then play another one on Saturday? I mean, do me a favour. Let's not feed into that narrative. on if the pressure of a title race could take its toll on the inexperienced players. Oh, poor babies. They're so inexperienced and young. If you want to be top, you have to go and experience it. Looking at what they did the other day, it gives me a lot of encouragement. I think somebody needs to tell Mikel that we lost 3-1. Mikel, if anybody from Arsenal's watching this, Mikel, we lost 3-1 on Wednesday to Manchester City. They played in second or third gear. They took De Bruyne off to save him for the Nottingham Forest game at the weekend. They played Bernardo Silva, the creative cam. They played him left back. So I think you need to understand, we did not win, Mikel. We didn't even draw. We lost 3-1. So I don't know what game you've watched back on replay. Maybe you've gone on Premier League years by accident and you've seen Thierry Henry scoring against Man City. We lost 3-1. That wasn't Sean Goater we were playing against. And that wasn't Nicky Weaver in goal. So just want to give you a reminder there. Might have been a long week, Mikel. Probably stressed out, but we lost 3-1. Anyway, Men in Black settings. Yeah, I think the lights flashed him and he's forgot what's happened. Here come the Men in Black, Men in Black. Galaxy Defender. Uh-oh. Big film that, by the way. Stephen Ireland settings, man. You know what I mean? Stephen Ireland in the 10 role. I don't know what game he watched, but I think he thinks we beat Man City. Anyway, let's carry on, people. Let's carry on. On if he's tempted to freshen up the team on Saturday. He said, every week we consider the best possible options for players and where they are in terms of performance, mentally and physically for sure. We'll do it again tomorrow. He'll probably pick the same team then. Yo, the vocals. Yo, you know what it is? I just had visions of the Men in Black song when I was younger, man, watching it on MTV Base. Everybody just slide with me. Just slide with me. Come on and make your network. Now freeze. Oh, 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 oh. Here come the Men in Black, men. Jeez, fam, yo. If you're of a certain age, you probably don't even remember, but, you know, the young bucks won't know. But Men in Black was a big film, by the way. You know, big film. Tommy Lee Jones and that big film. I think that was his name anyway. On if teams play more direct against us is a compliment to the way we've played this season. Sometimes it's the opponent's game plan. Sometimes they have a completely different game plan that they have to adapt to during the game. Possession is very important depending on where it is and what you produce with it. We're a team that wants to have the ball and we want to dominate games. Make it stop. Honestly, I have to sing and dance just to get through this press conference. The pre-match conference is even worse because they ask about 30 questions. It's so boring. And whether he will continue to play out from the back, said in the right areas, yes. If not, no. Well, that's pretty simple, isn't it? And whether it is better to be a hunter rather than the hunted in the title race. Ah, dear. I want to have as many points as possible as early as possible. It's not about looking at the table. It's about performing every single day. Let's skip it. On his thoughts on going to Aston Villa, Villa Park is a difficult place to go. Let's skip that. On whether we struggle against low blocks. Oh, dear. What other YouTuber can hold a tune like C? It wasn't bad. I got quite impressed with myself there. I thought I was going to break midway through the high note, but I managed to hold it, which I'm quite impressed with that. I'll watch that back on the replay later. On whether we struggle against low blocks, how many low blocks have we faced this season? 16. And we have won a lot of those games. So he's now saying... oh, Miguel. He says we've played against 16 low blocks. We've played 22 games this season. So is he basically saying everyone outside the top 6 is a low block? Today I feel like Will Smith, man. I'm not even going to answer that question. I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to read the answer. It's too long. Is there any good quotes there? When they block everything and the ball doesn't go into the net, it's great. If you win 2-0, then you played the low block really well. Let's get through this. On the reaction in the room when the squad watched the Man City game back, more clarity just in case they had any doubts. More clarity. So they watched it back and they were even more clear about what happened. On if the players will be motivated after... I mean, honestly, this is just... They need to stop this. That's up there as the worst question in the history of a press conference. What do they expect him to say? Are the players motivated after losing on Wednesday? No, they're not motivated, mate. They're gutted. I've sent them all home. They haven't trained properly. They're all playing on Fortnite. You know, I've given them some V-Bucks and sent them home. No, they've got no motivation. They're going to go Villa Park tomorrow and crumble. I mean, please, let me get through this. On needing our previous title winners to step up. On needing our previous title winners to step up. Who won the title? What title winners? Have we signed Thierry Henry, Bergkamp and Patrick Vieira today? What title winners? You need players with experience that can go... Oh, does he mean they won titles at other clubs? I don't know. I can't even read the answer. It's hurting my eyes. Today, I feel like waffle. And if he felt we were always going to suffer at some point, he said, I cannot show you now, but I could show you in pre-season because I knew what was coming. Mystic Mikel, he knew what was happening in the future. Cheers, Mikel. Cheers, fella. Today I feel like Mystic Mikel, people. He can see in the future. He said, I cannot show you now, but I could show you in pre-season. I knew what was coming. He knew this was going to happen. E. Ross said, Curtis, I need V-Bucks. Well, you know, Mikel, all the players have been sent home with V-Bucks. And if the league should review their schedules, here we go. Here we go. Well, there are certain rules for the Champions League where if you play on a Wednesday, you cannot play on a Saturday. I think that should apply to any competition. I tell you what, then, you've answered your own question with your answer. Get in the Champions League, then you won't play Wednesday and Saturday. If you're not in the Champions League, you might play Wednesday and Saturday. How about that? So how about, mate, when Aubameyang left last January, replace him with a striker. When Xhaka's injured and Partey and El Neni are at AFCON, you bring in a centre midfielder. Bruno Gomes, possibly. That might have got us in the Champions League, but we're not. We're in Europa League on a Thursday night at 5:45, straight after home and away. So you've answered your own question, really, Mikel. This is a painful one, this is. And if that has been discussed at the Premier League meetings, yeah, that's what I think should change. Champions League teams, blah, blah, blah. It's finally over. And if he'll make changes against Villa, somebody already asked him that. Let's not even answer it. One of the worst, most painful press conferences I've ever read in my life. This is why I have to start singing and dancing to Men in Black and cracking jokes. How are you supposed to read that with a straight face? You know, I would have been asleep by the time that finished. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the Premier League table. Let's make sense of something. That was painful. That was absolutely painful. I'm in agony after reading that nonsense. Let's look at the Premier League table. Where are Villa, by the way? No disrespect. I'm not doing this to diss them. They're 11th in the league. 2 wins, 1 draw. They have lost their last 2 games, though, which means nothing, really, for us, because somehow people find form against us. So Villa beat Leeds, Southampton. They lost to Leicester, lost to Man City. And Santa Claus are on their way tomorrow. We better not. We just better not, please. We have to win tomorrow. I know I've said this for about the last 4 games. You look at our form, 2 wins out of 5, man. Please, man. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. The positive thing is, as much as I've really felt down since Wednesday about Arsenal, it's crazy that we are still joint top. Well, we're not joint top. We're level on points, but they're top. But we do have a game in hand. That's all I've got to cling on to anymore, is a game in hand. You know, it's like trying to grip on the sand on the beach, people. It's in your hands, but it's just falling out, you know. That's how our title challenge is right now. We're holding on and the sand's just dropping out both sides of our hand. We have to win tomorrow. If we don't, I mean, I think it's done, but the players can't think like that. They have to keep going. If we don't beat Aston Villa tomorrow, I mean, Man City play Forest and Bournemouth the next 2 games. I think that's 6 points. So we have to win. Our next 2 games are Villa and Leicester away. And they are tricky games for Arsenal. 2 stadiums that we've been very up and down in over the last few years. And there's Unai Emery tax around this game. He is going to be desperate to win this game. He's really going to want to prove himself. Jose Mourinho once said, when you start accepting defeats just because your team played well and give their best, when you get used to it, big clubs stop being big clubs. He's always been bang. I'm telling you, I do agree with that. Performance is less important than result when you're trying to win a title. You're gonna play well at times throughout the season, but those times when you don't play well, you've got to grind out a win somehow. Trossard needs to start tomorrow. Do you know what? The team selection tomorrow is going to be very interesting because he brings in Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu makes a huge mistake. And then you're looking at it going, do you now bring him back out of the team, which will destroy his confidence? But at the same time, he's made a huge mistake. So would you guys drop Tomiyasu for tomorrow's game or would you stick with him? I think ultimately, I think Ben White will start tomorrow, if I'm being honest. I think the mistake was so big. I think he'll bring Ben White back in, if I'm being honest. I would start Trossard. Tommy made a mistake that any player could have made. He could. But the thing was, if you heard Mikel Arteta's press conference, he said Tomiyasu hasn't made this mistake in 7 years. He sounded quite frustrated and annoyed with the mistake. So I think Ben White will start tomorrow. Let's pick a potential lineup. And obviously we don't know if Thomas Partey is fit. I mean, Ramsdale, he needs to be careful. Let me say this. Anyone can get it right now in terms of getting dropped. He's getting there where he needs to be careful. Matt Turner's not going to be here to make up the numbers. He's going to want to play. He needs to start commanding his penalty area better. I would bring Ben White back in, I think. I think Arteta will bring Ben White back in. He'll play Gabriel and Saliba. And again, these two have to be careful. When's the last time these two both played well in the same game? It seems like one of them plays well and the other one doesn't. Also, even at left back, this inverted thing's starting to annoy me at times. Villa, this is going to be a hard game. This is going to be a hard game tomorrow. Make no mistake about it. I'd be tempted, honestly, to play Kieran Tierney at left back tomorrow. I'd be tempted. Do you know what? No, do you know what? I'm picking Kieran Tierney. I'm giving Zinni a break. All that inverted thing, I don't think it's necessary tomorrow. We'll pick Granit. I mean, do you know what? Honestly, I'm almost tempted to drop Granit Xhaka. Do you know what? I'm picking a totally different team here. I'm going to pick Jorginho and Partey in midfield. I'm going to play them two in midfield. And Odegaard in the 10. I thought Xhaka second half the other day was absolutely shocking. Oh, Latte, would you take a draw? Stop it, man, please. Oh, man. Granit looks knackered. Yo, you're right, man. I'm telling you. If Partey's not back, though, boy. If Partey's not back, I'm going Zinchenko, Jorginho. So let's imagine he's still injured. I drop him into the midfield. It's not a great midfield. I'm going to change them because he's left-footed. So, I know people get annoyed when you put players on the wrong side. I'll go Zinni and Jorginho. I think Granit needs a rest. Left wing, Leandro Trossard. Starts first game for me. Has to. Give him Tierney at fullback. Saka on the right. Up front, Gabriel Martinelli. Eddie gets dropped for me. Dropped, rested, whatever word you want to use. That would be my starting 11 tomorrow. Will this team start tomorrow? Absolutely no chance. Absolutely no way on earth this team starts tomorrow. That's what I would pick tomorrow. Because I think Xhaka looks knackered. I think Tierney, Trossard would like Tierney at left back to get on the overlap. Some people saying drop Odegaard as well. But then Fabio Vieira coming in. Xhaka ain't getting dropped. So let's write what we think the manager's going to pick, right? Martinelli doesn't play up front, that is for sure. Jorginho will play, I think, because I personally don't think Thomas Partey will be fit. So Xhaka will play. I think he will put Ben White in. I don't think he'll play Kieran Tierney. I think Zinchenko will play at left back. And he'll play Eddie up front. As I said, I'm convinced it's his stepson. I think that's what he'll play tomorrow. I think he might make one change. Yeah, you could even put Trossard up front and play Martinelli on the left. He played false nine a few times. I think this is what he will pick. Ray said, yes, you're right. Tierney, Jorginho and Partey, yes, Zinchenko. Why am I agreeing with you? I need to have a sleep. Ray, come on, Ray. Surely you agree with me sometimes. I speak some sense. I don't claim to, that all of it is factual, but most of it. Happy Friday, Ray. At least we've agreed on one thing. Let's be real. How is Xhaka playing as an 8 for Arsenal? Even worse, Arsenal. Listen. Granit needs upgrading in the summer. Let's get off all this hype. And yeah, he was playing well. But the last few weeks, he ain't making them runs into the area. You saw against Man City, 4 against 4, edge of the penalty area. Didn't shoot, didn't pass to Martinelli, then dived and tried to win a penalty. Granit's not the answer. Granit has never been the answer. Alvin said, has Arteta convinced you? Not fully, no. He's convinced me that he's a good coach and he's better than I thought he was. Has he convinced me that he can win the Premier League, that he can become a top quality manager? Not quite yet for me. You have to get over the finish line with Mikel. For me, this season, from where we were in January, from now, the position we're in now, one of two things have to happen for this season to end up in the right way for me. Option 1, you win the Premier League. Somehow you fight back, you win your game in hand. City play too many games, Champions League, FA Cup, Premier League, maybe Haaland and De Bruyne get injured, and somehow we win the title. That kind of scenario. The second one, if Arsenal miss out on winning the league, you win the Europa League. Finish second, win the Europa League would still be a very successful season when you consider we haven't won a European trophy for over 25 years. So I would still have a lot of credit for the manager if he won, if we won the Europa League. I would be disappointed we didn't win the title, but the Europa League would still be a big achievement for Arsenal. So, but I'm still doubtful. I'm still doubtful of us winning the Europa League. The only difference with the Europa League, what might give us more of a chance, is that Jesus will be back by time the next round. So I do think we can get to the latter stages. Obviously, Man United are playing Barca, so one of those two is going to get knocked out, which gives us a great opportunity of getting through, getting to the latter stages. Latte said, I'm serious. Eddie's juice is drying. Partey is in Domi. Martinelli is cloned. The Ramsdale can't command his box. I'm scared. Big up Latte. I mean, like you said, bro, we spoke about it yesterday. I think Eddie, man, the love potion, Buddy Love, Sherman Clump, Nutty Professor, he's ran out, man. He's gone back to default mode now. I said many times, if Eddie don't score, does he do enough? I don't think he does. We need Gabriel Jesus back desperately. I think Latte, Latte, I got so much respect for him. His quality in the member streams. You got to stop saying these comments because they keep coming true. Can't you put a comment in saying we're going to win tomorrow? And let's see if that comes true. He keeps saying I'll take a draw, and then we end up losing or drawing the game. We need him to say we're going to win. Temp said Curtis will beat Villa and City will draw with Forest and we'll be back up there. Let's hope. Let's manifest it. Let's speak it into existence. Forest are very good at home, but are they that good at home? I don't know. I'm not confident that they'll beat Man City. I'm just not. They keep the ball too well. Taron said put Zinni in the 8 and play Tierney as left back. Mooney said we're winning 3-0 tomorrow. Xhaka ain't going anywhere in the summer. Arteta has a love affair with it. I don't know why he loves this guy so much. Man out of time said as much as I'd hate seeing it, I'd love to see Mourinho at the helm or Thomas Frank. Oh, that's interesting, man. Alvin said we're winning tomorrow. Curtis, remember the ghost of Unai Emery haunting us that Villarreal night, Pepe giving us PTSD. I mean, Unai. Let's just quickly talk about Unai before I start to come towards the end. I've got one more transfer story to talk about. Unai's press conference today. He was a gentleman. I think he always was. Very respectful of Arsenal. Will it be a good evening for Arsenal or a good morning for Arsenal tomorrow or a bad morning? He said, at Arsenal, I had a very good experience. I enjoyed it there. I was there for 1.5 years. You have to use those moments to learn to get stronger. And I think I've become a better coach. I mean, he won another Europa League after leaving Arsenal. He is going to want to get one over us tomorrow. Make no mistake about it. Coutinho, Watkins, Buendia, who remembers the Buendia stream. You know, they've got players that are dangerous. Coutinho on his day is still top quality. And I tell you, Villa Park will be rocking tomorrow. 12:30 kickoff. It's a loud atmosphere. I've been there before. They will be fired up for it. So, Leon Bailey as well. They've got dangerous players, man. This is going to be a hard game. And if you were going to write a script to say this isn't going to go well for Arsenal, you would say make it away from home, make it an early kickoff against a former manager, and they've had 2 bad results, which means they're going to be desperate to turn things around. We are going to do a member stream on... We could do Monday. Tuesday will be... No, do you know what? We might even do Sunday. Because we're not playing, are we? I might do the member stream on Sunday. Is there any big game on Sunday? Because I definitely need to get a member stream in. Sunday or Monday, we'll do the member stream. We'll do a member stream. Sunday or Monday. Man, you are playing Leicester. Can't see me do it. Probably Monday. Because I'll do a reaction video on Sunday. Yeah, so we'll aim for Monday. Jacob Ramsey's out for a while, apparently. Xhaka has been poor for the last 6 games. He's not an influence in the game enough. Xhaka is a good player, but nowhere near enough goal contributions to play as an 8. And I think you're right there. You look at the best 8s in the league. I mean, look at Xhaka. How many goals he scored this season? Granit Xhaka, 3 goals. It's not enough. He needs to get 10, 12 goals a season, you know. Callum Chambers, I forgot about that one. Callum Chambers, former Arsenal player. KS said 4 games without a goal and offers nothing. Not agendas, just facts. Balogun is much better. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I know obviously you're referring to Eddie and Nketiah. Tomorrow's game. Do I think we're going to win that game tomorrow? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, if I'm being totally honest. Hand on heart. I'm not sure whether I think we're going to win that game or not. I hope we win the game. But I can't honestly say that I think we will. We were talking about right backs the other day. I said I think we need a more attacking right back. We're being linked with a right back today. Arsenal have joined the transfer race for Denzel Dumfries from Inter Milan amid fears over fullback. They're talking about Arsenal's lack of attacking options at right back, which is what I was talking about. And I do think we need to sign a fullback. Dumfries, for me, though, apparently he's improved a lot at Inter. I've never been the biggest fan of him. I think he's good going forward. I don't think defensively he's amazing. But I suppose to get a right back that's really good going forward and defensively is going to cost you a heck of a lot of money. Dumfries, apparently Inter want 30 million for him. They're in financial difficulty. They're not going to win the league this year. I'm not sure about Denzel Dumfries. I got to be honest. Somebody just said he's a wing back, not a full back. Dumfries is not a fullback. He is a wing-back that is not good at defending. What happened to Ivan Fresneda? I mean, maybe they'll go back for him in the summer. Tarun said, how is Laka the second highest scorer in the French league? He couldn't hit a barn door at Arsenal. Was we using him wrong, or is that French league just going dramatically downhill? I don't know what's going on. To break teams, we need a pacey fullback. I think you've got to have one fullback that is elite going forward if you want to win. If you want to win trophies, I think it helps unlock your winger. As I said, you look at the best wingers over the last few years, and you look at the fullback, Kyle Walker with Sterling, with Mahrez, or Cancelo on the other side, Liverpool with Robertson and Trent backing up Mane and Salah. The fullbacks are vital to the wingers. Overlap, create 2v2s, and then top wingers, once they're 1v1 with a defender, they'll ruin them if they continue to run at them. I just think Tomiyasu and Ben White, they're almost too similar. They're both almost like centre-backs playing at right-back. So, Nuno Tavares 2.0, very good going forward, not great defensively. David said sell Partey at the end of the season and buy 2 midfielders. The problem with that, Thomas Partey's 30 and on 200 grand a week and injury prone. Who's going to take that deal on? I think we'll have to keep him. I think we'll probably get rid of El Neni, I would get rid of, and Sambi, and maybe Xhaka. But I wouldn't get too gassed over Balogun. He's better than Eddie, but the French league is poor. Xhaka is tired. Our issue is we have no replacement or bench players to rotate with him. If Smith Rowe was injured, wasn't injured, it would have been interesting if he could have played in that sort of number 8 midfield role in a midfield 3. Smith Rowe, Odegaard and Partey. Because I just think we need to rotate. We need to see something different. Tomorrow, people. Tomorrow. Live stream. Early one. Even earlier, depending on where you are in the world. Tomorrow's kickoff is 12:30 UK time. I'll be live 11:45 AM. Morning one, people. I might have a hot chocolate in the mug. So join me for that. 11:45 tomorrow. Arsenal against Aston Villa. Aston Villa against Arsenal. I'm going to be totally honest. I am not looking forward to this game. I hope they can change the narrative. I hope they can prove us wrong and win this game. The script is written for this to go wrong, but Arsenal need to find a way of changing this script. Top teams would still grab this situation and say, listen, I know we've had a bad 4 games, but we're still level on points. We still got a game in hand. It's still in our hands. Even though it feels like it's slipping away rapidly, we have to win tomorrow. Man City play on, I think Man City play on Sunday. Man City play on Saturday, but 3 o'clock. So we would be back top of the league, put a little bit of pressure on Man City going away to Forest, and we need to win the game. So will Smith Rowe be on the bench tomorrow? 5:30 AM in the US. Please, Arsenal. 4:30 AM in Vancouver in Canada. Listen, people, thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Friday before Arsenal come and stress us out tomorrow. Let's hope we can win. I'll be live 11:45 AM. Aston Villa against Arsenal watch along. Member stream Sunday or Monday. And let's hope we can get back to winning ways. Because if we don't, not only are we not going to catch City, but Man United will creep up on us as well. So listen, let's hope we go 3-point collecting tomorrow. Thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy your Friday, people, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bless!